Hey, what's up guys, Just as Boost here and welcome back to another Digimon deck profile. Today I'm gonna be showing you guys my Blackwargreymon deck that I used for the Ultimate Cup this weekend. And yes, I know everybody's pretty tired of seeing Blackwargreymon lists, but this one is not like the others. It's black base, but it's not the traditional black base. Because of course the X antibody option is, well, it's not banned, but you can't play it in this deck, and now you can play Cool Boys. I really want to say this is a pretty banlist proof version of the deck. Which you're going to be seeing. I don't want to spoil like all the techs just yet. I do want to go over though why I decided to play this black base version of Blackwargreymon over the red base version, which is traditionally in the usual format considered to be the better version of the two, which it definitely is in the regular format. But I decided to go for a real fun swing, and I also honestly thought that for this format this version of the deck would be better, because with the hits basically, or you know how the format is where you can only play monocolor, the red version of the deck was basically reduced to a very control-y deck because you can't be playing the Promo Blackwargreymon. So you're just playing a pretty lackluster control deck, which it's not, I'm not saying it's bad, but I definitely think that focusing on the Promo Blackwargreymon is better, because it means that you can just kind of go degenerate Grandis on your opponent and just, you know, move out the stack and close out the game in a single turn. I'm going to be showing you guys how at the end of showing the deck list. But I would definitely recommend checking out the deck list as well, because you know you will want to know what cards are being played in the deck to get to that point. But yeah, you're going to be seeing I'm playing a lot of cool cards that you might not expect in this deck, which I'm very happy I could play actually, because they are from the very first set of the game, so it was pretty nostalgic to play these cards again. But yeah, very banlist proof version of the deck. I think if there will be, I mean, there will be a ban list, and if it drops, I'm definitely going to be seeing if I can make this deck work somehow. But you know, maybe the ban list won't hit this deck very hard, and then the red base version will still be the best. But I kind of hope they will, and people will kind of be forced to play this version of the deck because I think it's really fun. Yeah, anyway, enough rambling about how cool I think this deck is. Let's just check it out. Alright, hopping into the actual profile, as always starting with the Digitama. We are just playing the full playset of the Agumon. I felt really good to be playing this card again, which was literally released in set 1, if I'm not mistaken. But if you're unfamiliar, this says, on your turn, while this Digimon has reboot, it gets the plus 1000 DP. I really felt like there wasn't any other better egg. Like Agumon is, I guess, the best black egg there is, but not in this deck, because you don't want to be slamming your stack into your opponent's security to get the plus. And then the other egg I can send just Agumon, which says if you have a black tamer in play, you get the plus 2000 or plus 1000 DP. But I felt the reboot was actually easier achievable than the black tamer, even though honestly when you want to go for your game push there should be a tamer in play, but you should also have the reboot ability usually. So I just felt this came up a little bit more often, where I, for example, wanted to run over my opponent's level 5 with my own level 5, and then which is fair, because after that you will just unsuspend because you have reboots. But yeah, the full place of Agumon definitely wouldn't change this, to be honest. Then moving on to the level 3s. So this is actually where I think in some way the black base build excels over the red base build, because this Agumon is just the best Surger Agumon there is, even compared to the red ones, because this one adds both a Greymon and a Dragonkin, which means you can add your top end, so your Blackwargreymon, Agumon, or Blackwargreymon X antibody, as well as one of the pieces you might be missing, like a Greymon or a Metal Greymon. Yeah, adding 2 is just super busted, especially when you're setting up for what you want to be doing, like with this Agumon. Then we're also playing the full playset of the Agumon X antibody, which is the one from BT11, the new one, which digs for a Greymon as well as a black tamer, which we are playing. There was a previous build I've tried for a little bit, which also played Yuji, but in the end I decided to not play it, since you basically want to hit a 5 memory threshold. So for example, if you have black memory boost and your memory tamer, you will be able to go for your game push, which I will explain in a little bit. But with the Yuji you only manage to get up to the 4 memory, which doesn't really get you anywhere. And then you usually also don't really want to evolve to your X antibody in raising anyway, because you want to trigger Yuja off the evolve into it. So I decided to cut Yuji, so this only adds the Yuya to your hand, but I still think it's pretty necessary to play just to dig for your pieces, even though I do have to admit that the 4 play cost is definitely not something I'm a very big fan of. Definitely, just if it was 3 costs, it would definitely be better. And the Inheritable, it doesn't come up in this deck at all, of course, because it was built for Ultimate Cup rules, and you can't play the X-Antibody option with those rules, so yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't really change anything about these. And then for the more interesting parts, I play the full playset of the Toy Agumon, which Inheritable just gives Reboot, which will come up later with cards I'm playing. And I'll just show the combo later, but basically this is used to get you a security attack +1. And of course just having the Reboot ability in general isn't bad at all. But I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. And then I also play 2 Sunriseamon, just because we want to get that security attack +1. And while I do have to admit that the security attack +1 of the Sunriseamon is more consistent than the Toy Agumon one, the Toy Agumon one is actually better, because it will also give you jamming, which means that you can just go for your huge Promo Blackwargreymon push without any issue, basically. But yeah, I'm gonna be showing how that works in a little bit. Moving on, we have the Greymons. I'm playing triple of this Greymon and 4 of the Greymon X Antibody, first showing the not so spicy cards. So this is basically the only card in the deck that's not banlist proof. Like, maybe they're gonna do something about this card. Honestly, I'm not sure. I don't really think so, but like, it could be right. But yeah, this is just super nice, and it works with one of the setups you want to be doing with this deck, which I'm gonna be showing at the end. And then this just, makes your guy blocker, and this is somehow the second best black Greymon that you can play in this deck. There's basically 3. You have this one, and then you also have the BT2 one, which says if your Digimon has Reboot, he will also have jamming. So there's super synergy between this and the Toy Agumon and the Promo Blackwargreymon. And then you also have the, I think it's the structure deck one, which says if your opponent didn't attack, you can draw a card Inheritable, which is okay-ish, I guess. But yeah, I definitely think those 2 are better. And I want to play 12 level 4s, and the 12 one's actually the Grumble one. So I wasn't like 4-4-4, but yeah, I wanted to add this in. And this definitely came up. I definitely think it's a good card. It's not even that bad if you have to evolve into this and then just build your stack from there. But you definitely, in the ideal situation, you're building up your stack with this to go for the big push. But having this as an option just to play a little bit more defensively, definitely very nice as well. So yeah, that's it for the level 4s. And then moving on to the level 5s, which is, I have an interesting lineup, I think. I'm running 3 of this Metal Greymon, 3 of the Metal Greymon X Antibody, and then 3 of the BT2 Metal Greymon, so I guess you can already see where this is going. We all know how good these cards are, don't really have to go too much in depth about these, I think. However, this one says it has reboots, which is nice because that means that if you have this in the stack, sometimes you can just swing this into security and will have jamming and then reboot later as well, which is of course very nice. So you can do some chip damage without having to worry too much. But the real reason we're playing this is the Inheritable ability, where it says if this Digimon has reboot, it gains security attack +1, which is very cool because it means if you have like this stack with Toy Agumon as well, that means this has reboot, so it also has security attack +1, and you have this in the stack, it also has jamming, which is very nice, so you can go for some pretty scary aggression very early on in the game. But I just think it's nice to have these options. Like if you want to play a little bit more of a control game, you can just play it more traditionally with these cards. But if you want to go for your game push, having this as an option is very nice. However, in hindsight, I did sometimes miss just having this because you just have to play the control game more often than you can play the actual OTK game. That's just how it is. And in those situations, I definitely missed the BT8 Metal Greymon, so I would maybe consider cutting one of these for the BT8 Metal Greymon, just playing 2 of this, so you have access to it like when you want to go for that game push. But yeah, 9 level 5, so we're just playing pretty large amounts of all of our levels, as you're gonna see. Which is nice because it just means that your deck's more consistent. And then for the level 6s, of course, this is the star of the deck, the Promo Blackwargreymon. Basically, since the start of BT11 format, I felt like this was the way to build the deck. yeah, we just want to play Greymon Banlist basically, and this is what enables you to do so. And then Blackwargreymon X Antibody as a defensive option, and just having this as a stack where you go like, you know, swing for 2 checks is very nice as well because it inherently has reboots. And then also double Agumon. So basically the goal of the deck is to just go for game with this. However, of course, we won't always be able to do that, and then having these as options is very nice. Again, just having this to play more of a control and defensive game is very nice. And if your opponent has raised first and you have to answer their stack, having access to the Agumon is very nice as well. And Agumon also definitely helps in combination with the BT8 Metal Greymon and outing the Machine Dramon stack, which is a deck I think is pretty good in this format. So having access to these cards is very nice. But again, this is the star and what the deck's built around, which I'm going to be showing in a second. Then no level 7s, because I think the only level 7 you can play in this deck in the Ultimate Cup rules is Ragnar Lordmon, which I guess technically is an option, but I didn't really feel like was necessary. Tamers, just 3 Yuya. Again, I was playing Yuji before, but it didn't really come up that much. At that point I was also playing Ryudamon actually, because it adds an X Antibody card as well as Yuji, but I honestly feel like playing more of the stack starters like Toya Agumon and Sunriseiamon is definitely better. And again, this is part of your win condition, because the 2000 boost isn't even that relevant, but it's definitely very nice to make your stack unaffected by options, which means that, you know, if you have this with Security Deck +1 jamming as well as being unaffected by options, like, what's gonna stop you? Nothing, basically, right? So, yeah, Super Yuja and just, you know, having a Memory Tamer is obviously very good. And then for the options, I'm playing 1 Hades Force. Honestly, this did come up because it was absolutely insane in my matchup against Blue Flare, where I just, you know, cleared 2 out of 3 games I played against Blue Flare. I just literally wiped the entire board with this card. So it definitely does have its uses. I wish I could play it more, actually. I did also consider stuff like DG Dimension and Ultimate Flare, but this card just solves certain matchups that those cards don't. Like, you don't really have a huge issue clearing boards, but you do have issue clearing, you know, tamer stuff. So yeah, this card is very nice. And then just for Black Memory Boost, don't really think I should be wasting too much time talking about this Memory Boost card, because this literally just did for all your pieces. So yeah, that is the deck. Now to show off the line of play that the deck is actually focused around. I mean, yes, this is a very specific combo, but you are playing a lot of searchers, and definitely in the late game this can come up without a problem. And you also don't always need all the parts. Like in matchups where your opponent isn't playing anything that's above 13k, yeah, above 30k anyway, this isn't really relevant. So it can just be any Greymon, honestly. But yeah, if you really need like your perfect setup, what you want to be doing with this deck. So I have the Capurumon, I have the Toy Agumon, and usually you're gonna have this setup basically, and then this is gonna be your hand. And this, honestly, it only really comes up if you have more memory than 5. So you will also need like a memory boost to do the entire thing. So let's grab that as well. This is gonna be the setup that you want. And then if you have started turn with 4 memory and the memory boost have 6 memory in total to work with, you can also play around stuff like a Chikurumon, but that's obviously only relevant in matchups where that card is played, so you can just kind of disregard this. What you want to be doing is you want to promote this guy, go into the Greymon X Antibody, tap the Yuya, give it +2000 as well as being unaffected by options. Then you can evolve into this for 2, so you have 1 memory left, you pop the boost, go to the Blackwargreymon, and now you have a Blackwargreymon stack that has Security Deck +1, as well as jamming. So basically what you're gonna be doing is do like 2 checks, and then you can just, you know, get rid of this and this, because the DP boost doesn't matter anyway. And then do another 2 checks, and then, you know, to finish off the game, it doesn't really matter what you do, but you can just, you know, close out the game, because you will usually have done some chip damage at the start of the game with like your Searcher, Agus or something like that. So that's definitely also part of the setup, but it did definitely go off a couple of times. I think I even did it like 2 or 3 times, just like around turn 4, so it went off really fast. And other matches I just usually played a lot of control until I could go for the Promo Blackwargreymon push. but it definitely did close out most of my games. And yeah, I really felt like playing the deck focused on this guy was honestly stronger than playing the red deck. Alright guys, that was the deck list. I played this at the Ultimate Cup this past weekend with the adjusted rules. And I didn't do super well. I went 5-3. I did play against a lot of meta decks though. I played against double Dark Knightmon, which is not necessarily a meta deck, and I actually lost to one of those, but it was definitely not because of the deck. I just played that match pretty badly, and then I beat the other one because that time I actually played well. Then I played against 2 Blue Flare as well, which I both beat. I played against Bloomlord, which bodied me super hard, so that was rough. Definitely have to kind of figure out how to solve that matchup. Maybe Ultimate Flare, I don't know. Then I also played against Machine Dramon, which was pretty hard, but I won. I played against Gallantmon, which I also beat. And the last loss I took was against like Impmon Rush. It wasn't really Beelzemon, it was just like a Rush deck with Impmons and just spamming those. And I didn't really know what was happening to me, and before I knew it, I kind of lost. So that was pretty crazy. But yeah, I definitely think there's potential in this deck. Definitely, if a potential banlist drops, definitely something to look out for. Yeah, let me know what you think about the deck. I'd love to hear it. And if you haven't yet, be sure to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!